Get them going!
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. Not a pastor, priest, rabbi, theologian, teacher. I am just a guy on the internet talking to you about the Bible. Why you come to listen to me, I have no idea. Yet here you are. Explain yourself. What's up, Devil's Airs in the chat? Amy Lester, Tina, Dark Admiral, Mart here, right and ready. What's up, everybody? And whoever is watching on X, if you're watching on X and you want to be part of the chat, you have to click on the words under my picture and then pop up the chat screen. I don't know why X makes it difficult, but they do. So there you are. What is up? DJ is here. Dark Admiral, I'm not late. The door was stuck. I am late. I gave you time to be late. That was my whole plan to begin with. We're all here because you're our friend and buddy, and we love our Mikey. Aww, Tina, you're so sweet. All right. Today, more answers for atheists. My previous answers for atheist video, I looked at it yesterday and it had like, what did it have? Let me look, because I posted a picture of it in Cross Examinations. It had 750 views. Now it's got like 850 views. So people are apparently, atheists are apparently dying for answers. So I am going to help them out, and they've left 17 comments on that video. So I'm going to go ahead and start by going through their video. You know what? I'm going to do it over here because I don't want to crane my neck constantly while I'm trying to do this. So I'm going to double up my screen here. Shorts. Answers. Okay. Starting at the top, and I'm not gonna revisit Lou's answer because I already did his. All right. Skeptic Engineer says faith is the excuse people give when they don't have a reason to believe. When you have good evidence, you don't need faith. Okay, again, not going by my understanding of and definition in faith. Faith is belief in action. So when you have a belief, and then you put that belief to action, basically. I don't know how else to say it. Belief, I think, is a noun. Faith is a verb. kind of. That's the simplified version of it. So it's like you have faith in gravity. Therefore, you do not jump off of buildings. Unless you're a base jumper who likes to do that for fun. But generally speaking, people who believe in gravity exercise that faith by not jumping off of buildings. You have faith that a chair, or you believe that a chair will hold your weight. Faith, and again, this may be a particular definition to some of you that you just think belief and faith are the same word, basically. I don't think that's the case. Actually, let's see what old Webster's says. Actually, definition of belief, and then we'll do definition of faith as well. We'll see what our culture, at least right now, agrees to as the definitions of these. The mental belief. 1. The mental act, condition, or habit of placing trust or confidence in another. See, I would call that faith. 2. Mental acceptance of and conviction in the truth, actuality, or validity of something. 3. Something believed or accepted as true, especially a particular tenet or a body of tenets accepted by a group of persons. Now let's do faith. faith. 1. By my faith in truth. Okay, there's 2. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't read the word above it. Interjection. By my faith in truth verily. Similar, verily. Okay, that's not what we're talking about. Noun. Belief. Oh, it's just saying belief. The assent to the mind. The assent of the mind. I'm sorry, I need to drink more coffee. Come on, coffee. Get my brain working. Belief. The assent of the mind to the truth of what is declared by another, resting solely and implicitly on his authority and veracity, reliance on testimony. 2. The assent of the mind to the statement or proposition of another, on the ground of the manifest truth of what he utters, firm and earnest belief. Okay, so that's your differential. On probable evidence of any kind, especially in regard to important moral truth. So the assent of the mind to the statement or proposition of the other. So that's more along the lines of how I'm using it, right? The another in this case could be the chair. This is just my metaphor. The chair metaphor. I believe in the chair. I believe the chair can hold me. The assent of the mind to the statement and proposition of another. So the assent of the mind is that's putting that belief into action, right? So sitting on the chair is testing my faith. Is my faith warranted? I don't know until I sit in the chair. So it's actually not the act. It is acting on faith is sitting in the chair. I guess that's the best way to put it. That actually fits the definitions the most accurately. So acting on your belief, acting on your faith. But the statement, faith is the excuse people give when they don't have reason to believe. No, it's not. And you don't, and that's another thing. This kind of goes back to the conversation we were having yesterday about reason to believe. No one knows everything about anything. So everyone has a certain degree of ignorance about a subject. How much ignorance are you willing to leave cushion for before you put your faith in something? It's not you don't have reason to believe. Some people may only require this much reason. Some people may require this much reason, right? But the gap between absolute knowledge and total knowledge will fluctuate between people. I grant you, people who have less absolute knowledge have greater faith. That's true. And the more absolute knowledge you have on a subject, the less faith you require to believe in that. True. But you can't just dismiss people who have faith, which, by the way, again, is most of the population for the history of mankind. So you atheists are the tiny minority of people who think you're just so much smarter than the rest of mankind for the rest of history, because you have a little bit more of what you think is evidence against what the rest of mankind knows they don't need evidence for. Well, maybe that's not the right way to put it. Because a lot of your evidence is a lie. Sorry. If you want to counter that, explain abiogenesis to me concisely, and in a logical, rational way that doesn't defy the laws of physics and reality. You cannot do it. It's not the right way to put it, says Laveau. When you have good evidence, you don't need faith. Again, everyone has faith to a certain degree or another. There's not enough evidence to have absolute knowledge of anything. I mean, even so much as people it's making the rounds in the scientific body today that we live in a freaking hologram. Do I have enough evidence to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that we do not live in a hologram? No. Do I have faith that we don't live in a hologram? Yes. Could we live in a hologram? I don't know. It seems like it. Seems like, people are convinced, and that's my kind of thing, my curiosity. If there are people who are convinced of a thing, it makes me curious what has convinced those people of the thing, right? I don't automatically go, we don't live in a hologram. I don't think we live in a hologram, but there are people who are really convinced, and they're really smart people who believe we live in a hologram. I don't believe it. I can't say it's impossible. I am that kind of a curious mind, and I think that's a good place to be. I think everyone should be curious. Don't you? And if not, I'm curious why you're not. All right. Number 2, at Madgemage. You're wrong about beliefs. I'm thinking of a claim that is either true or false. Do you believe it's true? 1. The only way to justify it's true would be evidence it's true. 2. You don't have that. Hold on, let me read more. 3. Oh, I guess this is long. Well, this is 3. You don't even have evidence of what the claim is, so how could you have evidence it's true? I'm thinking of a claim that's either true or false. Do you believe it's true? The only way to justify believing it's true would be evidence it's true. Okay. You don't have that. You don't even have evidence of what the claim is. How could you have evidence it's true? What? I wonder if he's making a broad statement or if he's asking me directly. Because obviously I have evidence that God is true. So does most of the world. You just reject the evidence. That's not the same thing as there not being evidence. You rejecting evidence, you denying evidence, is not proof that your denial is true. The same applies to people to know it's false. You don't have evidence of that either. That leaves non-belief. You shouldn't believe it's true or false. You should be a non-believer of my claim. 2. Oh, this is good. So you're basically saying you should just be agnostic about everything. Again, no. Doesn't work like that. 2. This doesn't change if I tell you the claim. What? This doesn't change if I tell you the claim AlphaNod hates Dolmen architecture. Because almost certainly you still don't have evidence supporting either belief position, right? That means the non-belief position is the rational position. Oh, so he's trying to say that the rational position is atheism rather than agnosticism. Rather than admit you don't know or that you're not convinced, it's more rational to claim there is not. It's more rational to claim the negative than the neutral. I don't buy that. Put simply, ideas start unknown. They only become known by evidence. So until you have evidence, my claim is true or false. The rational position is non-belief. Once again, 3. Well, okay, he's doing the whole thing. Which takes us to gods. Nobody has evidence gods exist. False. Nobody has evidence no gods exist. So we should all be non-believers. Again, there's plenty of evidence that God exists. Your denial is not proof of God's non-existence. Typically, Gnostic, agnostic is one's answer to, do you believe the existence of a God can be or is known? And theist atheist is one's answer to, do you believe God exists? Everyone has an answer to both questions, so you're always some combination of both terms, i.e. agnostic atheist. But ultimately, terms don't matter. What matters is, do you value truth? If so, you must only believe ideas you have good reason to think are true. That takes evidence. Non-evidenced or poorly evidenced ideas are either unknowns or falsehoods, meaning they're things you must not believe if you value truth. Okay, well, again, their rejection of evidence or denial of evidence is not evidence of the falsehood of a claim. That is a personal, subjective, and emotional response to the evidence. Because, let's see, design. Obviously, I don't want to regurgitate this stuff all the time, because you guys, well, most of you have been here, but maybe we'll get a whole bunch of those people watching this again. The evidence of design. You hear this phrase all the time in science, in biology, even in evolutionary biology. You hear the words illusion of design. In other words, it's evidence of design that you're saying is illusion because of your dogmatic assertion that there's no God. So even in the statement, the illusion of design, you are admitting that there is evidence of design, and you cannot have design without intelligence. You cannot have intelligence from random, meaningless matter and energy banging into each other for eternity. Do you not understand what I said, Lavo? The illusion of design. And you'll hear this all the time, and you do. I guarantee you have the illusion of design that they claim, because they see the design. You can see it. What is an illusion? Something you see before your eyes, but you claim isn't real. Right? So you're saying you see the design right before your eyes, but your dogmatic assertion that there is no God is what forces your brain to claim it isn't real. Oh, I understand what you're saying. It's just funny. It's absolutely true. You guys bury yourselves with that one. Also, what other kind of sociological evidence? People who live according to the dictates of that 3,000-year-old book written by sand dwellers live much more happy, healthy, productive lives. That across the spectrum of sociological freaking paradigms, everything you can think of that makes for a better life, you get if you follow this sand dweller book. That's evidence that this is true. The truth of a matter is in its results. And look, as we get more and more secular, what are we doing? We're killing our own. Well, I don't want to go there. We're dying, guys. We're dying. We're not repopulating. Right? Because of all this getting away from that book has got us as a culture, the entire Western world. The further away we get from that book written by sand dwellers 3,000 years ago, the less we repopulate our own people. We are literally driving ourselves extinct. And is that good for the human population? Is that good for society that we go extinct? That's a negative, correct? But it's good for the planet. Shut up. It's a negative. So, no, it's not subjective. This is a broad truth of a how do you want to say it? Truths are measured by their results. The result is, if you follow the book, You may not like all of it. I don't have to like all of it. I just have to understand that the guy who wrote it knows how we work better than we do. Oh, happiness isn't subjective. I'm not just talking about happiness, dude. I'm talking about the overall well-being of the society. Written by desert dwellers, little sand hermits, 3,000 years ago, that were so dumb they didn't even know the Earth revolved around the sun. Right? So it is evidence. Again, dismissing evidence is not evidence that your dismissal is the truth. All right. Justin says, I'm having some deja vu right now. Trippy, isn't it? Deja vu. Or are you just being lippy? Yeah, because two men together don't make babies and two women together can't make babies. Yeah, and slaughtering over 1 million babies a year and that's just America. I think in the Western world, it's the number is just devastating. I don't even want to look it up because it seems like I've deleted it from my brain because I heard it one time and my brain almost melted how many babies we freaking kill every year. It's heartbreaking and I don't even want to know it. I don't want it in my head because we do 1 million just in America, just in this one country. We do 1 million a year. And we're not even the worst in the Western Hemisphere. I think Brazil is the worst country in the Western Hemisphere. I think. But anyways. All right, moving on. Philo Vermeyer. Oh no, it's not dishonest at all to say that the Bible is fanciful story and the God described within is incompatible with reality. Much like all the multitude of divine concepts that have been presented, atheism does not require faith. It is being unconvinced have reason to believe the opposite of the claims of theism. He said it in the end. To believe the opposite. So it's not a non-belief. It is belief in the opposite. He said it in his own retort. I don't even have to argue with him. It is a faith. You believe that there is no God. Thank you for answering your own question. That's a weird way to describe atheism. I didn't write it. He did. He just accidentally wrote the truth in his argument. All right. Top Tester 301 says, simple logic rules out your God concept. Where do you get logic? It's not a faith or belief. Yeah. Do you believe that the universe can exist without a God? Then that is a belief, isn't it? You have faith that random matter and energy could smash together and create DNA, ultimately. That is a belief, Laveau. That is very much a belief. Well, now, this is where my presuppositionalist bone starts to tingle. No, I don't know would be my answer to that. So you're agnostic. Because without God, that's your only option. There is no third option. Either God created it, or random, meaningless, unguided, unintentional matter and energy just smashed together until it designed the error correcting code known as deoxyribonucleic acid. Those are your two options. God or you're smoking crack, because there's no freaking way, no matter how much magic pixie dust called time you sprinkle on that formula, will random meaningless matter and energy form the error-correcting code known as deoxyribonucleic acid. It just doesn't happen. That's kind of lazy, but I get you. I've been there. So that's why I say that the logical, reasonable, rational position to take is agnosticism. If you don't think you know the answer, or you don't think you even can know the answer, the rational position is agnosticism. To claim atheism is an emotional claim, not a rational one. And then all these people up here trying to give rational reasons why atheism is more rational than agnosticism, you're on crack. You're denying whatever your emotional reason is. That's I'm not getting moved off of that pedestal. That's my position. And I've yet to meet anyone who could dissuade me from that position. 26 minutes. All right. Simple logic rolls out your God concept. I don't know if there is an actual God or not. I'm an atheist. It all boils back down to just being a paradigmatic argument. Is it paradigmatic or paradigmatic? Because it's paradigm. It's paradigmatic, right? The G is silent. This is not hard to follow. I made it very simple, so you can't pretend I had a stroke to poison the well. He's responding to me talking about Lou. LOL. Presupposition is the lowest level of thought. Lou put it nicely. After watching your video, I believe you are woefully ignorant on purpose. There are levels to apologetics. Yours are on par with teenagers on Discord trying to enter apologetics. It is as if you haven't developed a ... That's it. He didn't finish his thought. All right. So this guy's opinion is that apparently I'm woefully inadequate for simple logic and apologetics. Okay. Well, like I said, I'm not a theologian. I am not a philosophicist. Just a guy on the internet. You don't have to be here. I'm glad you are, though. He either didn't finish or censored by YouTube. Well, if he was censored, they would have just deleted the entire thing, right? Okay, while I have time here, Benny 20 grand says, what are the characteristics of a god, and whom is it that taught you about these characteristics? Well, in the great grand sense of things, a god, any god, the god would be the creator, because as I said, without the god, your other option is absolute foolishness. That's why the picture on this is Dawkins in a fool's outfit, right? If you haven't seen the thumbnail, it's Dawkins in a fool's outfit. The other option to the god is the ridiculous claim that random matter and energy can program. I can't even program, and I think I'm not the dumbest guy on earth, but I can't program. But somehow random rocks and chemistry and molecules can just bang together for millions and years and create a error correcting code that is far more complex than anything mankind has ever written with our little brains and fingers. That's your other option. So the God, what you're saying, what are the characteristics? I start there very, very basically. I start very, very, very much on that bottom level of what the basic necessity of a God is. He can create reality. And as he is the creator of reality, he at the very, 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 very least deserves a little respect. Also, because we are finite beings living in the reality that he created, in order for us to understand him, he would have to reveal himself to us. So, in my final, I'll truncate this down. When I finally came to I was raised agnostic, Benny 20 grand, by the way, in case you didn't catch that before. When I I was into, I don't want to say metaphysical physical stuff like it's like, hey man, check out the power of these crystals and all that stuff. Although there might actually be something to that now. Recently, I've discovered, but I don't know too much. I haven't delved down that rabbit hole. But I was into things like near-death experience, which showed like, wow, there is something outside of just this physical electrons and microns and deuterons and bleetrons. I know those aren't things. There's more to us than our physical reality, than our physical, not reality. There's more to us than our measurable time, width, length, height. The four dimensions we can interact with, there's more to reality than that. And it was from that I took the step to prayer for the first time. My prayer was answered like immediately. My second prayer was answered like immediately. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I need to start digging into this whole Bible thing. And then I started doing, I didn't even read the Bible. I just started going through the claims and learning about the ridiculous claims, like things like prophecy. Oh, you mean that somebody could write something outside of time and write history in advance and prove that whoever the author is outside of time, thereby going back to the origin of this conversation, wherein the God would be the creator of reality, time would be a part of that reality. Therefore, the God who is trying to get a message to us would be by nature outside of his creation and by nature outside of time. So that the God could deliver a message from outside of time, proving through what we inside of time call prophecy. That's a short version of who taught you about these characteristics. The prophecy proves the God authored the book. And then, as I was convinced of this, I went around to all of the other holy writs and all of the claims of the other religions to look for another book by my favorite author. Nothing held water. No other religion held water against the Bible. Nothing else had. Look, even in the Bible, God says in Deuteronomy 18:18, if someone claims that they're speaking for the God, but they can't prove that they are through accurate prophecy, in other words, what they say does not come to pass, do you know what the penalty is for that person claiming to speak for God? You kill them. You stone them right to death. So the bar was pretty high, right? For people claiming to speak for the God. So in answer to your question, who taught you about these characteristics? The God did. Your second question. You speak as if belief is a choice. One does not choose to believe in something. You are either convinced or unconvinced by the evidence or lack thereof. And again, that's the coming back to the first skeptic engineers thing. No one has absolute knowledge of anything. So there's always a gap between your knowledge and absolute knowledge. For some people, And whatever that gap is called faith, right? I have the faith. I don't need. I only need this much knowledge to believe this thing. My brother might need this much knowledge to believe the thing, but between absolute knowledge, his knowledge, between absolute knowledge and his knowledge is the ignorance that is filled by faith. And this is ubiquitous. Every and anything you believe in, there is a gap between your belief and absolute knowledge. And I made the case that, or I made the argument that there are people who believe that we live in a hologram. Do you or I or anyone or even them have absolute knowledge that we do not live in a hologram? No. Now, that might only be this much. I don't know. It might be like, we might actually live in a hologram and we're all wrong. I don't know. But between the absolute knowledge and the knowledge I have is that faith that tells me, we don't live in a hologram. But we all live by faith in everything we believe. So crying about it, not saying that you're crying about it, but some people do, that, oh, you just have faith because you don't know enough. Same to you about absolutely everything you believe. It's like you breathe oxygen. There is more to reality than height. Mike 2025, 4 feet 5 inches. I don't like you, redneck. Existing outside of space and time seems like a pretty gnarly superpower, right? Right. Henry says, I can program. Henry, are you in the Discord? Hit me up. I actually did a sermon called Software Engineering and Atheism on my YouTube channel. I think you are in the Discord. Even if their prophecies came true, if they tried to get the people to turn from God's commandments, they were also to be stoned. Yeah. I don't remember what scripture that is, but that sounds about right. Some people are now agnostic flat earthers who are also agnostic matrix inhabitants. The plot thickens. You're not in the Discord. You're on X? You're on X, right? Deuteronomy 13. All right, actually, we're going to get to Job 32, and I'm going to do it with my super awesome. No, don't clear history. I don't want to clear history. I want to go. I want to go to history. With my super duper translatatron. I was trying to get this to write the entire Bible, and it's like, well, that's pretty big. How about we do this one chapter at a time? I'm like, that'd take forever. There's roughly 31,102 verses across the Old and New Testament. Using the deepest possible meaning approach I've been applying would be an immense undertaking. Listen to this. Each verse requires unpacking linguistic roots, cultural context, and theological nuance, then weaving it into a readable, evocative prose. That's what we're doing here. All right. Anyways, that was all the questions from that episode. If you've got questions, or you think I'm just a big dummy, you atheists out there, go ahead and leave a comment on this one. I'll get to it on the next episode. Bible time with Mike and Grok. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. I'm just making sure we did. We did Jonah last time. I'm scrolling up. We did John 1:1. And we did Job 31. All right. Now do Job chapter 32. Bing! Mike, have you called into the line yet? No, I have not, Laveau. Read from Genesis 9 till 18. I need to. So I had Canaan now. at Abram to Abraham, and Sarai, it's Sarai to Sarah, not Sai. Another part of Isaac and Ishmael, though the bloodline stuff I can't handle very well. I like the bloodline stuff because it's interesting seeing, because you'll find like names in there that just pop out because the other stuff. Way to set healthy boundaries, Grok, right? Call in and chat with Matt. That'd be a fun watch. I don't want to call in and sit there and wait on a phone for like an hour and 40 minutes. That's not really my shtick. I got way too much stuff to do than to sit on hold all day. Bill Overmeyer, why does God kill people? I thought he loved people, but he kills people. That's pretty evil. Everyone dies. Did you? Your other option is that everyone lives forever. Theists don't wait that long. I'm busy. I don't know. This isn't my job, and I'm not independently wealthy where I just sit around and drink Mai Tais all day. Oh, theists don't wait that long, as in they put them to the front of the thing. Maybe I'll try sometime. Maybe I'll give it a try sometime. All right. Good afternoon, Edwin. Oh, Edwin. Edwin, would you like to come on and read the Bible for us? Well, those Egyptian babies, not a good look, in my opinion. Everyone dies, and yes, God takes them all. Don't you think everyone does live forever, heaven or hell? Well, that's in the resurrection. You're complaining about the immediacy of death. You're not complaining about. That's two different topics. And those 42 kids that called a dude bald. Okay, I'm in the Discord. All right. I can. All right. Hold on. Let me invite Edwin in here to read the Grok version. Where is Edwin? Edwin. You know what? Why don't I just find or start a conversation and look for Edwin? Edwin. All right, we're on Discord, Edwin. Dropping the link. And then, I'm going to copy paste this into the Discord so you can read it. Job 32, deepest meaning translation. We're not doing King James. We're doing... Oh, too long for... There we go. Actually, that looks better. Why don't I do this? Why don't I share the... Oh, because I can't zoom in. Darn it. Art. Welcome to the chat, Edwin Boyette.
Good evening. Good afternoon, perhaps.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever the case may be. Actually, you know what? Stupid buttons. All right, I got it.
So this is the Grok translation of the Book of Job?
Yep. Have you seen... so you're new to this?
Yes.
All right, so I will tell you what I've done here. I have taken Grok and I have asked it to give me a word for word and thought for thought using the deepest possible meaning of each word in its original language and context, and put it together in a readable prose. And what it comes up with is freaking awesome.
Fascinating. All right, so is this... Well, we'll see. Should my expectation be that this is like Young's Literal with more poetry?
I haven't read Young's Literal, so...
You failed me. It's all right. I've grown accustomed to being disappointed by my guest Miller. All right, so the...
Oh no, Edwin's gone.
All right.
All right.
Book of
So Job
Job.
32 in God's voice.
In God's voice. All right. Well, we'll see if I still have God's voice after ceasing smoking for so long.
Oh man, what did you quit for?
Well,
You made it this far.
Right. Man, I'm at over 5 months now, Mike.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did you patch it or gum it, or did you just go cold turkey?
I used the same things that RFK Jr. uses, those little pouches, and absolutely magic for me.
So you still addicted to nicotine?
Yeah, but even that I've tapered down. I kind of, you know me, I measure everything, so
Yeah.
I've been.
Well, there's this
Yeah.
dude that just swears up and down nicotine is like the greatest gift to humanity God ever gave anybody.
It is a
Like
bit of a nootropic.
health-wise.
Yeah. Within reason. All right, here we go. Job 32, translated with deepest meaning. Verse 1. So the three men ceased answering Job, their words exhausted, their arguments spent. For in his own eyes he stood righteous, unyielding before their rebuke. Then the anger of Elihu blazed, son of Barachel the Buzite, of Ram's lineage. A fire kindled against Job, for he dared justify himself above God, his soul lifted higher than the Almighty's truth. His wrath burned too against the three friends. Their voices steeled without an answer, condemning Job yet failing to pierce his claim. Silence that fueled Elihu's ire. Now Elihu had waited, holding his tongue while they spoke, for their days outnumbered his, years granting them precedence, deference due to their age. When he saw their mouths empty, no wisdom left to spill, his anger swelled, a tide no longer restrained by their gray hairs. And Elihu, son of Barachel the Buzite, spoke out, I am young in days, my years tender and few, while you are seasoned, etched with time. Thus I shrank back, trembling to unveil my thoughts before your age. I said to myself, let days speak, let the multitude of years weave wisdom's thread, their weight lending voice to truth. Yet it is the spirit in a man, the breath of the Almighty blazing within that grants understanding, not the length of days alone, but the fire of divine insight. The great are not always wise, nor do the aged ever grasp justice. Time does not guarantee truth's crown. So I say, hear me now. Let me too unfurl my knowledge, my soul's burden pressing to be heard. Behold, I lingered while you spoke, your reasons tumbling forth. I bent my ear to your counsels, weighing each word as you sought to unravel Job's stand. I watched closely, yet none of you prevailed. No one pierced Job's words, no answer rose to match his claim. Do not say we have found wisdom. God alone will thrust him down, not man, for your silence proves no triumph, only a void where answers should stand. He spoke not to me, nor will I echo your replies. My words are my own, fresh and unborrowed, a new wind against his wall. They stand dismayed, their speech dried up, words flee from them, a stream gone silent in the desert. Shall I wait while they hold their peace, standing mute with nothing left to say, their stillness a call for my voice to rise? No, I will answer too. My share of truth will flow, my portion of insight breaking free to join the fray. For I am brimming with words, a torrent within. My spirit's wind pressing hard against my frame, urging release. My belly is a wineskin, unvented, swollen with new wine ready to burst. It seems straining under the ferment of my thoughts. I must speak to breathe again, to ease my soul's weight, my lips opening to pour forth what burns within. I will not favor any man's face, nor cloak my words in flattery's garb, for partiality binds the truth I bear. I know not how to flatter. Such craft would turn my maker against me, his hand swift to sweep me away for bending justice's line.
Isn't that great?
That is good. That is good. That actually had some strong lyricism to
I flippin' love it, man. Well, that's the thing is like, I mean, I use this example all the time, but it's like English just doesn't contain the meaning of. You can do a word for word, but there's 7 words for love in Greek, and they all have explicit meaning. But we have 1 word for love, and all of those words, well, only 4 of them are used in the Bible, but 4 of the different words with their own explicit, unique meaning are all just translated love in the Bible as word for word. So it's like you really lose so much of the deeper meaning unless you're doing a word study. And that's why I
Yes.
wanted a translation that gives you the deepest meaning while you're reading it. And gosh, it's just like it comes more to life than.
Well, it goes to hitting on that point. What was that verse? Here we go. For I am brimming with words, a torrent within. My spirit's wind pressing hard against my frame, urging release. My belly is a wineskin unvented. I like the new wine there because we hear that again in the New Testament.
Yeah. It's so good. It's like, I really do. I'm trying. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I have the time, but Grok will only do like a chapter at a time. But I would love to have this printed as a Bible. Like, but I would have to have it converted a chapter at a time and then moved into a Word document. And then all that.
Well, the
fun stuff.
interesting thing would be to move to a different device and ask Gronk to pull up that translation again and see if it changes anything.
Oh,
And I may
I
do the same thing. I may do the same thing after the show just to see if. Can you in the Discord? Can you paste over the prompt that you gave to generate this? And if it's burdensome,
this
it's
is how the
not.
conversation went. How well do you understand Hebrew? I can understand and respond to questions in Hebrew fairly well. So my prompt was more of a conversation. Can you translate in both thought by thought and word for word Genesis chapter 1, allowing for as many words as you need to get the deepest possible meaning from each word? And then he does this. And then it gives the meaning of each word too. And
let's see, Phil Overmeyer in the chat says, imagine taking AI seriously. And Buddy Rabbit says, yeah, I'm not thrilled about it either. Well, an AI, and it's hard. There's some black box stuff, but it's a lexical parser. And so it's interesting to see because it's been trained on, analyzing textual data the way we use textual data. So it's interesting to see what the AI's version of human understanding of a text is, right? Because the AI's version of an understanding is based on our own understanding, right? As we string together these tokens and insist that it communicates some thought or some truth, right?
it's not interesting. AI can't even do math. AI just literally spit out an entire program for me that I asked for it. It can code. I think it can do math.
Yes, some of my friends are making games with it. I mean, you still have to go back and edit and patch some things together, but yeah.
Yeah. So
AI is
feel
going is
free to
good.
dismiss it.
AI
Whatever.
is good at doing things that have already been done.
Yeah, because it's just, and then how it's trained, you can train it poorly. All right, back to this. PC Joseph says, if God tells you to kill babies, you better do as he says, or he may kill you. Well, yes, but you better be damn sure it's God telling you,
Yeah.
because if it's not, then you're just a murderer.
I would argue in most cases, what we've been told to do, we've all been told to do, and that we don't often get individualized instructions. We have a common.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. He's saying, because he's using this argument out of the Old Testament. It's like,
Oh,
as I said earlier, the Old Testament, the prophets that spoke for God, they had a little test for the prophet to prove that they were speaking for God. If they were not able to speak the future in advance, meaning prophesy accurately, then they were to be not murdered. They were to be executed. So that way you knew that the guy that was speaking for God, claiming to be speaking for God, was actually getting his messages from the creator of the universe, the author of life and death. So if the author of life and death says, hey, can you take an eraser to that life? You take an eraser to that life, because he's the author and it is his command, and it is not murder when it is the command of the Lord. We don't tend to do that these days, because the prophets were until John the Baptist. So there are no more prophets that are out there telling people to kill other groups of people. But for atheists, it's okay to kill babies. Yeah. I don't
perhaps
know what
it's a little bit too late in the program to get into that.
Yeah. Buddy Rabbit said, that's not my problem with it. My problem is with its lexical distinctives. Never mind just over the Bible, but its fact finding has been lackluster. I've had problems with it over Don Quixote. What AI are you using? I mean, there's different AIs. Are you using Grok?
It does seem like Grok has the advantage of having all of the textual data of Twitter, right? And just
Oh,
millions
not
and billions
yeah,
of tokens.
not just Twitter. Hold on, let me ask. Let me start a new thing and ask it something. What can you tell me about the universe being a hologram? And then it gives you all these sources. Oh wait, that's weird.
Interesting.
It's a holographic principle, a concept in theoretical physics. Suggests the interpretation. Oh, that's weird. Usually, when I ask something, it brings up like all the sources, and they're not just from Twitter. They're from like all over the internet. It like scans like a lot of information. That was the thing I didn't like about ChatGPT. It didn't have access to the internet.
Right. So it's kind of
It's like,
stale.
well, yeah, it was whatever the programmers trained it to be, right?
Right.
It couldn't reach beyond that information. Gemini. Oh, is that from the Facebook brothers? The guys that founded the Facebook? Or no? Am I thinking of
Meta.
the...
So there's Bing
No,
AI.
no, no, no. The
Gemini's
guy,
Google's.
the Winklevoss twins. Aren't they
Is it?
Gemini?
I don't know. I'm sure Grok could tell you.
Oh, PC Joseph, is that what happened to you? Did you lose a baby? I lost a baby too. I didn't lose my faith. I wouldn't be surprised if AI went nuts trying to make sense of Don Quixote. Wasn't that guy losing his mind? Yeah. Oh, what? We're out of time. Edwin Boyett, thank you for being here. and reading. And yeah, I can send you what little prompt I have on that, or you can make your own and come up with try to find something even better. No problem making it better, right?
Yeah. I'm just curious to see if it produces the same, if there's
Right.
a fidelity.
Yeah. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here on Cross Examinations. It is Friday, so won't see you till Monday. Edwin, stick around. We'll chat.
Good day.
Goodbye, everyone. See you on the next exciting episode of Cross Examinations. No outro.